We visit the province Dalarna in central Sweden during October 2025 to explore boreal fungi, lichens and bryophytes. We are borrowing this cottage. We did not really expect this snowy weather, but hopefully it won't matter too much. Am I right, Olle?
Yeah, hopefully the fungi are gonna be in good condition. We'll see.
The snow has melted away now. You can see.
Yeah, it's looking better.
So we flipped the first log, and under this log is a red-listed corticoid called Crustoderma dryinum, characterized by this orange color and grows in very exclusive spruce forests. In this pile of spruce logs here, I can see a fruit body of Amylocystis laponica, a fleshy polypore red-listed as vulnerable in Sweden. This species is characterized by the reddish-brown cap surface, a very distinct smell and a fleshy texture. It's mainly found in old-growth forest and is quite rare. Theo has never seen Amylocystis laponica before.
No.
It's in here. What is your live reaction to this, Theo?
It's very lovely. Here.
Yeah, so I found some cool small moss here on this birch log. We have Chrysocalix hellerianus. That's red listed as near threatened. And also Lophotia, that's this one over here. Both are very small liverworts that grow on dead wood.
Theo found some parasite on myxomycetes. Here we have Phelopilus nigrolimitatus, characterized by a light brown grayish hymenium and a thin cap which has this yellow-brown color. And if you cut a section through this polypore, there's a black line between the pores and the flesh, hence the name nigrolimitatus. There's also a really cool shiny myxomycete growing here on the moss. Olle is taking photos right now. Theo found a bunch of very tiny fungi here. These little black dots. We have a very tiny brown discomycete here, which looks like these lines.
De här är ju gulpudrade ju. Har du sett det i toppen?
Ja, exakt.
Here we have Antrodiella citrina. Has this characteristic yellow color. Over here, the Holy Grail, which I have filmed several times already, but I can't stop, I can't help myself. It's Pycnoporellus albolutius. We also have Stecarinum colabens over here, which is a red-brown resupinate polypore that is red listed as vulnerable. We found a really cool yellow Pyrinomycete here that parasitizes on this old polypore. Olle is taking photos. Red-listed lichens cover the entire stems of the spruces here. On this one we have Cleostomum leprosum. You can't really see it with your naked eye. You have to look under a lens. And on another spruce here we have a lot of Cenoteca subrosida, which is characterized by a green or yellow prina, which is on the underside of the head of the lichen. On this spruce there's Chenotecopsis viridalba, which has a white shaft and a black head. Here on this spruce log we have a polypore or corticoid, whatever you want to call it, Meruliopsis taxicola, which has a meruloid hymenium, which basically means that it's wrinkled. It's characterized by the red fruit body with this white margin, and it's an indicator species, which is especially good on spruce. So it basically indicates older forests. Here we have a comparison of two moss species. We have Hylocomium splendens here to the left, which is kind of branched in several levels. In Sweden it's named after a house based on. It looks like it has several floors, or it grows in several floors. And to the right we have Hylocomiastum umbratum, which is an indicator species of forests with the continuity. And it's a bit similar, but basically it doesn't have levels, and it's branched like a feather basically, and kind of thin. And in this forest it grows pretty much everywhere, which is a bit unique. We haven't seen this much of this species before. Here we have a large spruce log with more of Anthrodiella citrina. I didn't mention this before, but it grows together with the large polypore Fumitopsis pinicola. Here is Fumitopsis pinicola. And here they are in the same frame. The yellow color is more apparent when you shine a light on it. Ah, beautiful. Small fruit body here of Leptoporus mollis, fleshy pink polypore on spruce. Astrodon ferruginosus, a corticoid, a woolly corticoid with spines, can be easily recognized under the microscope by star-shaped setae. Red listed as near threatened in Sweden. Pycnoporellus grows like a weed in this forest. We have a really rare species here under our spruce log. This is Anomoloma albolutescens, characterized by these white fruit bodies with yellow mycelium. So this is an annual soft polypore, and it's registered as critically endangered in Sweden. This is a known locality, and me and Olle were actually here last year as well and looked at this. There's a massive pile of logs here. Oh, hello Theo!
Hi.
Olle has found his third specimen of Coloderma oculatum, which is a really small myxomycete that grows on, is it mosses or liverworts?
Liverworts.
Liverworts, okay. It's really cool, and definitely a somewhat unknown species in Sweden, right?
Yeah. It's quite under-reported.
Yeah.
It might be more common than what the reports say.
It's extremely small. That's probably why no one has ever looked for this species. You can't see it with your naked eye. You have to find it under the lens.
Olle also found Boreal minutissima, a slime mold which probably is very overlooked since it was last seen in Sweden during the 1950s.
Spruces here are literally draped in Alectoria cementosa, this yarn lichen. This species is very common in old forests, but due to old forests being cut down rapidly, it's red listed as near threatened in Sweden. So we are now on a different locality. We are targeting a specific species here, which is known from this willow. Plectocarpon scrobiculatae, which is a parasite on the lichen Lobaria scrobiculatae.
I didn't film this for some reason, but we found both the host and the parasite. The host being the textured lung lichen, and the parasite being the button-like fungus Plectocarpon scrobiculatae, red listed as endangered because it's much rarer than its host and requires very high humidity, and is therefore easily affected by surrounding forestry.
Theo just found some probable Geolecta species, reddish crater lichen, which Olle will take some photos of. Those are small crater-like apothecia. Here's a willow with the Lobaria pulmonaria. Red listed as near threatened and grows in forests with high humidity. We're on a mire now, and on these mires you sometimes find these burnt pine stumps. They become carbonized, and on this substrate you can find several red listed lichens, such as the genus Hypocenomyce. There are 2 red listed species in this genus. And here we also have Ramboldia elabens, another red listed species, white and black. Olle also took some photos of some additional species. Today we're in this really old pine forest with a lot of old pine logs, and this is a substrate which holds many red listed fungi. Right here we have Postia lateritia, which is red listed as vulnerable in Sweden. It's an annual slightly fleshy brown rot polypore, which has this brownish cap surface and a white pore layer, which becomes a bit brown when you touch it. We haven't found so much yet, but we will keep looking. Under here there is an undescribed red discomycete. We went a bit further down the road, and here we have another white polypore which is flaking off the substrate, which is very weird. Look at this insane log. Huge and twisted old pine. This pine survived a forest fire. Now it looks like this. Pretty cool. Completely carbonized inside. This place looks insane. Probably the bark beetle has killed a bunch of spruces here, which has fallen. So there's an insane amount of dead wood here. Surprisingly little polypores here. This locality is apparently extremely good for mosses. Theo and Olle are ecstatic, but I'm not finding a lot of fungi here. So I guess I'll have to learn some moss.
They found their target species, the pointed earwort, red listed as vulnerable and associated with occasionally flooded wood, which was common on this locality. Additional species they found here and in the surroundings were Polia bulbifera, recognized by green rounded gemmi by the bases of the leaves, the round-leaved bryum, and the lesser notchwort.
There is one postia species here at least. I left Theo and Olle and went to look for some fungi, and I found my first Postia lateritia, beautiful specimen.
I later learned that in order to fully separate this specimen from a similar species called Postia calvenda, I would have to put it under the microscope, which I didn't do in this case, so this specimen remains undetermined.
They are everywhere here. Look, here's more. Beautiful little lake with these massive dead pines. Theo just found Sarcomyxa cerotina, this green agaric here with an orange hymeneum, orange gills. Really beautiful species.
Here.
Good morning, gang. Today we are going to some mountain with a local crew here in Malung in Dalarna. What is your take on this, Olle?
He said it will be a similar habitat to the first day, so it's going to be like taiga, similar taiga habitat.
Maybe a lot of spruce and a lot of logs?
Yes.
Yes, cool.
Hopefully.
Yeah, a lot of moss for you.
Yes.
It's very cold, it's -degrees outside. We are kind of cold. We are in a very steep mountain slope. There's a lot of dead wood here. Old spruces and wet cliffs with different moss and liverwort species. On this spruce log here we have Cystosterium murrayi, red listed as near threatened in Sweden and smells like dill. You can often smell it many meters away. It has this very coarse hymeneum and grayish colors.
Where's the fungi up here? Everyone's going up the mountain.
Under this spruce log here we have Anomoporia bombysina, a really rare polypore, red listed as endangered in Sweden. It's really hard to get on camera, but older fruit bodies have a violet tint. Only the second time I see this, so very cool.
So in northern Sweden, it has become common practice to use a mirror when searching the underside of logs for wood-living fungi. This is something I tried to demonstrate here in this shot, but it didn't work very well for filming. Hopefully you can see that I managed to capture some fruit bodies of Anomoporia bombysina here in the mirror, which would have been pretty hard to spot without it.
I just found Ostina undosa under this log. A white, fleshy annual polypore, red listed as vulnerable in Sweden. Can be recognized by these wavy, irregular pores and a white to brownish, somewhat wavy cap. It's not very apparent on this specimen.
We thought that we might have had the protected moss species Cynodontium suesicum here, but it turned out to be the more common Cynodontium strumiferum, recognized by a bulge at the base of the capsules.
And they grow on these dark green, quite loose tufts here. And with a bit of training you can actually determine them in the field. Yeah, perfectly rotten log. So I found about 50 of these Bobaxima viride here.
Buxbaumia. Buxbaumia viride.
Boom, whatever. Fucking boombox boom. And here are the old ones, a bit brown, and they also turn at another angle. Like you see, the fresh ones here are straight up, and these
They are more horizontal.
Yeah, more horizontal. And I found about 50 of these sporophytes here, and this is also actually a protected species here in Sweden, and one of the species that are protected from the EU. And also here on this part of the log, I found, it's quite tricky to see, but it's also the same species, but in the protonymic state. They get these brown, small little collections of protonyma, and they can also be recognized in this state. Otherwise, it's just a capsule and no leaves, which is quite rare for moss.
A few other species that were shown to us include the bicolored horsehair lichen, the spiny grey horsehair lichen, and the old growth rag lichen.